Hello and welcome to The Healing Way. My name is Richard Clark and this is Rheumatoid Arthritis, Cells and Cancer, Part 5. It's a continuation of a series of videos I've been doing, so if you've just come across this and you'd like to catch up, please have a look at the previous videos so you know where I'm with this. I've been talking about the power of regeneration, and this power or essence, energy, whatever it is, it exists in a lot of things. Just about everything physical has this within it, because anything that has the capacity to decay and die will have this within it. This power or essence will be within it. And this power or essence seems to mainly live or inhabit the earth, because everything that dies returns to the earth, falls back to the earth where it is. It goes through a process of decay, death and regeneration. Some materials and some people have this power or essence in them much stronger. Things that come out of the earth that have died are very, very strong with this essence. I'm thinking now of crude oil, which we use for energy, obviously we refine it, and coal. These originally were living things that died and returned to earth, where they became the embodiment of the death power. The wisdom behind digging them up out of the ground and using them, while obviously we need energy, the wisdom behind it I'm unsure about. Releasing these things into the living world. Anyway, that's probably a problem in a video for another time. Where I was with this on the last video was that the DNA slows down its rotation. It's probably not something that can be seen. It's probably an energy type of problem rather than something purely physical that can be seen. It slows down because this death power or regeneration power, essence, whatever it is, gets into the brain, where it causes the brain to stop functioning properly. And because it stops functioning properly, it stops driving the body slows down, it stops rotating as I see it, or vibrating as probably a lot of people would see it. This death power, this death energy, it lives or exists on many levels. It comes to us in between our lives, when we are free of body, when our bodies have gone back to the earth and what's left is free of the body. It comes and it forms a regeneration of what's left. It sets the pattern or the way for the next cycle of existence, of physical existence. This is how we would see it, and this power is very fluid when it comes to us when we're in that state. It's a very fluid power, very high frequency, very subtle type power or energy when it's in its regeneration phase. And for some reason there's something about what it comes to that changes how it comes. If we're in a state of needing regeneration, it will be a regeneration power. If we're in a phase where we are decaying on the way to death, it will appear as a decaying death power. It seems that everything has this within it, or every living thing has this within it, because every living thing decays and dies and is subject to regeneration. And that's the problem with the body. This energy, through damage to the intestines, instead of passing out of the body and returning to earth as it should, it's getting into the brain, where it slows the brain down and causes, in my view, a type of dementia. And this slowing down of the body allows this energy or changes the body's energy frequency or signature so that this death power then thinks the body is in need of regeneration. Now this is where it's getting complicated. Before I get to the complicated bit, I want to just say, going back to this power, it operates on many levels in many different ways. So when it comes to us, or when it comes to the body, when the physical body, it's on a physical level. It can work on the physical because it is definitely like works on like, and it has to be on that level to work physically. So it's got a physical aspect, it's got an aspect that isn't so physical, more to do with what's in the background or the underlying condition, and then it's got this non-physical, or it's perceivable, so there must be a certain amount of physical aspect to it. But when it comes to us when we're out of body, when we're no longer in a human body, when it comes to us then, that's probably its most finite or subtle, intangible form. But it always knows exactly how to come, what form to take to come, what we need. So it seems to me that we are, or matter, or whatever it is that's in the body when the body's gone, or whatever's left, broadcasts what it is, so the energy knows what, not just how to come, what state to come in, but when it arrives, what to do, what that matter or state of existence needs. It's pretty interesting. I find it interesting. Okay, so as I say, everything has this death power or death energy with it because it's part of the cycle. It's an energy of the earth, and it exists in an absence of light. Right? Obviously, the earth, deep down inside the earth, there's no light in there. So this is one of its characteristics. And some people mirror this power, this death power. They mirror death and decay and the darker side. We would see it as the darker side, but there's no reason to, because it is part of existence. Existence rises up and falls down and then rises up again. And this is all part of this cycle. So damage to the intestines in the stomach caused by primarily antibiotics, and prior to that the moulds that we harvest antibiotics from, growing on grain and fruit, they damage the stomach internally, and this allows this death energy, instead of going out of the body, to stay in the body and flood the body, especially the brain, causing these problems. So now the complicated bit. The DNA, our DNA, seems to slow down, which allows or invites the death power, the death energy, to bond with the DNA. Now that's not the only thing that's going on. What I tried to do was understand this whole problem of cancer from the outside, to see it as I've done other things. You can watch, say for instance, pollution entering the person, entering the body, and can perceive and watch the processes involved, what it does, how it does it. It's fairly linear, it's fairly straightforward, it's fairly simple and obvious. You just keep tracking it. Cancer isn't like that. It can't be seen or perceived or understood or comprehended from the outside. I can't anyway. This is why I'm doing it this way. I'm tracking it from the inside. I'm joining with the process as it works through the body. Stomach, brain, DNA, what's happening. So what's happening next? Okay, as I said, this energy of decay, death, regeneration gets into the DNA and starts to work. But it doesn't regenerate, it reorganises. And this is key. I don't know why it changes. It's, instead of regenerating matter that hasn't got a body, hasn't got a living presence in it as it would in the earth, instead of regenerating matter, preparing it for the next cycle, next living cycle, it starts to reorganise matter in the body. This is very important. It reorganises matter in the body. And it's combining in a rotation. What I'm seeing is it combines with the underlying energy or power of rheumatoid arthritis. They're bonding in the DNA. So you've got this death power, which is active. You've got the rheumatoid arthritis power, which is passive. And then there's another factor, insect energy. And this insect energy is also a huge reflection of the death power. Insects are very much, and bacteria, are very much part of the cycle of decay. They break down. They break down. And this is their contribution to this process, this cycle, that they break down things when they've died, matter when it's died. And these three things are bonding in a rotation in the human DNA. So you've got the insects, you've got the rheumatoid arthritis, and you've got the death power, all the different energies, powers, essences. And they're rotating. Now, questions I want to look at, obviously, is why this happens. I've seen this death energy joining, but I don't know why. I've said that's why I think it happens, it slows down. Why the other two join, I don't know why. That's a bit of a mystery. The other two being rheumatoid arthritis and the insect power. They're bonding in the DNA in a rotation. And why this happens, I need to look at. Why cancer, and I'm talking about the growths, tumours and that, migrate, move around the body, spread about, I don't know. That needs looking at. And what the trigger is from other things, as I've said before, smoking and other kinds of things, we call things cancer-causing chemicals. It seems improbable to me that something on its own can bring about cancer. It has to have this underlying condition. There has to be this underlying condition that I've talked about on these videos up to now. I can't see how cancer can exist without the underlying condition existing. And what we call cancer causing is probably more accurate, cancer provoking. It enables or it draws cancer to a certain point where it breaks through. Okay. Now then, as I said before, I believe the healing methods that I use will neutralise the damage done in the intestines. I don't know which method does it, but I'm pretty sure one of them does, if not all of them working together. So that hopefully no further dark energy, death energy, can get into the body. But what to do about this condition, because the condition that's already existing in the DNA, because it seems to me it's quite possible this can be passed down through the generations. And I'm definitely feeling or seeing that that's the case. The DNA gets, I wouldn't say damaged, infected is probably a better word, but then it's passed down through the generations, and this is why you get cancer running in families, certain types of cancer running in families. So what to do about that? Obviously this condition needs to be wiped out, because just fixing the stomach problem, the intestines, isn't enough. I mean, it's a great start, no two ways about it. And if you're using the healing with energy methods, you're going to pick this up as a bonus. It will help sort out the stomach. It might well be that this also is passed down through generations. It's a very powerful imprint on the body, on the stomach, on the intestines. Very powerful. Powerful enough to be passed on, I think. So both conditions, the DNA that's infected and the stomach, the intestines that's damaged or not functioning properly, both passed down, passed on. So if the intestines, the damaged intestines, been sorted out with healing methods, what's to be done about the DNA infection? Right, one thing that can't happen is the methods up to now won't work. Healing with energy won't work on this. I've tried these methods on people with cancer and it doesn't touch it. This was a surprise, a shock, a setback. When I first did it, there was somebody who I was actually working on for something else. And because she was on medication to suppress her immune system, this gave rise to cancer. They told her that in a very small percentage of cases, the doctors told her that she would develop cancer, and she did. And when she was early diagnosed, she told me, and I watched, and I saw the cancer starting to appear. It was coming out of her ankles, little tiny spores flowing out. So I immediately started using my healing methods, and they didn't work. They didn't touch it. They could not touch it. And looking back on it, and in the light of what I'm talking about now, it seems to me it didn't touch it because I was using the washing liquid tabs, which would be the main method to use on something like that, which gets a good grip on something like asthmas and migraines and pollution and allergies and rheumatoid arthritis, all this kind of dark energy conditions. But it could not get a grip on the cancer, as it was these tiny little, they were like spores. And the reason I think for that is I was working on this physical level, they were on a not such a physical level, so the two could not connect or join. So that method, although it's very effective in other things, it might help secondary things with cancer, it might do all kinds of things, but not with cancer it won't. So I need something else, and what I need is something that gets the DNA spinning again and brings light to this condition. As I've said before, I got the idea I need something that brings about rotation, that brings light, and the feeling is gold. The feeling is it's gold, the metal gold, but used in a different way. Used in a different way. I'm not ready yet, or my brain isn't ready to yet talk about that. We need to build a few more steps in before we get to that point. I need to understand what provokes the cancer, these things like smoking and drinking with the liver and all kinds of things. Why? I know it's easy to say, well, it does this, this and this, but I actually want to perceive it. It's not enough to just have it logically set out. I need to actually perceive what the process is. To gain that understanding, and then there's going to be a greater understanding of a counter, if a counter is possible. Okay, if you've got this far, thank you very much. I've put a lot into this one because this is clearing the decks. It's laying some foundations, getting the work in that needs to be put in to build on. So, thank you very much for listening or watching, if you've watched, and I hope you'll join me, and we'll keep plodding on and see where it takes us. All I know is, so far as the methods go, it needs to be something new. I need to get inside to get at it, rather than what I've always done on the outside, which doesn't mean people are going to have to start taking things. It means that I need to get the method much deeper in than I ever done before. We'll keep going. Thank you very much anyway, appreciate it. I hope you'll see me on the next one.